All right, Strategy Aligned Professionals, we're on part 4 of our 6-part series on preparing your brand for AI search. And today we're going to talk about identifying competitors with AI-powered analysis. And of course, we're going to be leveraging the SEMrush AI toolkit, but understand that you do have other choices as well. Some of them could require more steps. I like the SEMrush AI toolkit because it really brings together a lot of different components where you might have to leverage different tools, different strategies, a number of different scenarios, which kind of stretches you a bit thin. Okay, so I will show you a little bit of both. Today we're going to focus on a strategic approach to identify competitors, analyze their strategies, and find opportunities to outperform them in AI-powered search results. I always say I love competition because competition pays tuition for you. You know, they lay the groundwork, they'll put out the resources, and all you have to do is make sure that you're paying attention and listening. All right? So, as always, we have a number of members from our community, the Moving Forward Small Business Strategy Alignment and Execution community. This is how we do all of our training. So we want to make sure there are members on the training. So it's not just someone just spitting out numbers and facts and figures and ideas, but there's an actual dialogue that happens during the recording that now becomes part of the training. So if you happen to be a member of the community, welcome. If you're not a member of the Moving Forward Small Business community, consider joining. We have a lifetime membership, which is very, very inexpensive. You pay one time and you're in for life. So consider that and understand what differentiates us from our competitors is we get an opportunity to really go deep. Instead of telling you need to be leveraging AI search and the things, we help you see what that is and helps you see how to make sure that you're doing it so it's not just a guessing game and you're wasting time and energy. So, real quick, my name is Jimmy Newson. I am the founder and CEO of Moving Forward Small Business. I get the chance to be in front of hundreds of small businesses monthly, thousands to 10,000 yearly through my travels, through programs and trainings and partnerships. So I'm very excited to be able to do that and try to bring this technology, this training, this strategy to as many small businesses as humanly possible. Please connect with me on LinkedIn if you have not done so. A little bit more about Moving Forward Small Business. We are a community-based membership. So we're offering, of course, trainings like this, but opportunities to network and chat with each other. And eventually we're going to start to integrate mentorship. And that's just a whole nother can of worms, but that's a can of worms we're going to have to put on the shelf and then eventually open it up and start to eat it up a little bit. So consider joining. I'm excited. I hope you're excited because we're going to go deep again. Big shout out to SEMrush, who is our presenting partner with us here for this series. Shout out to Laura's company, a la carte catering, Nikisha and Corey, Alexander Sky Group. Their organizations are a part of our small business and strategic partners, along with our other strategic partners, which you can see on the replay page. So, real quick, what are we doing here? Okay, we're now on part 4. Part 1, part 2, part 3 have already happened. Of course, part 1 was about preparing your brand for the age of AI search. So it was an overview. Part 2 was analyze brand visibility with AI insight. Part 3 was optimize content for user intent in AI search. Today, we're going to talk about identify competitors with AI-powered analysis. And then we have 2 sessions left in this series. And then it goes on demand completely and available to all of our VIPs after the 17th of September, which is another reason that you might want to upgrade to a VIP ticket. So before we go any further, as we're now halfway through this series, we do have a replay and resources page that we've been sharing out as we go. So if you did miss part 1, part 2, or part 3, you have access to that and all of the resources. So real quick, this is the replay page. Corey will be dropping the link in periodically throughout. But as you see, blue means that it's live. Gray means that it's not live yet, but there's the replay. And then here is our VIP for each day. So again, if you're not a VIP, you can upgrade to VIP. If you scroll down, you get access to this deck, so you don't have to remember everything. And of course, feel free to share this with anyone in your community, and they can register for the remaining series as well. You can get access to the SEMrush tool. This was day 1, so these were the tools that we shared in day 1. And then, of course, if you're interested in membership, you can click here for membership. So this is the resource page. You just click on the session that you want to review. It's already there for you. Okay, so enough of that nonsense. Let's get down to it. Okay, if I can get back to my deck. There we go. So now we're going to talk about competitors and competition. And competition is serious business. And it could be your best friend or your worst enemy. All right. And at the end of the day, there are 5 types of competitors. So when someone tells me, to my dismay, that they do not have competitors, they don't understand competition. 5 types: direct competitors. These are and indirect competitors. These are the 2 that people are very familiar with. And they realize, oh, I either have direct competitors or indirect competitors. Direct competitors offer identical or vertical similar products or services in to your target customer. Indirect, they meet the same customer need, but with an alternative product or service. What does that mean? Direct competitor, let's just make it simple. You are a hamburger joint, okay? A direct competitor is another hamburger joint. An indirect competitor is someone who does not sell hamburgers. They sell tacos. They sell pizza. They sell sushi. They're indirect because they don't sell the same product, but they do satisfy the same need, hunger. Okay? Potential competitors are companies that could enter your market in the near future, often through expansion. So these could be your bigger brands, or some ambitious, restaurateur who really wants to start to build out his brand and looking for great markets, and you just happen to be in one. That's a potential competitor. A future competitor is an emerging startup or technology that may disrupt the market in the long term. Okay, so think, Netflix when Blockbuster was a thing. They come in and they change the thing. Uber, changed the industry for the taxi industry. Now you got Lyft and all these guys. So those are future competitors. And then the one that people tend to not really think about is your replacement competitor. Now let's go back to the restaurant. Now all of a sudden, Dad's coming home, and kids go, "Hey, I want a pizza," and so he typically may stop by the local pizza shop, but all of a sudden, Dad wants to be all creative. He wants to really bond with the kids, and make an impression. So what does he decide to do? He goes to the store and he buys all the ingredients to make a pizza. That is a replacement competitor. So if we got that right, let me get some thumbs ups. So again, and that's the same thing. And one more example, I had a colleague of mine. She has an incredible business in New York City, where she has relationships with some really great venues, so she can offer very personalized experiences. Okay, like the Met Gala, things like that. So you can book her hospitality service for these things, and she would always say she has no competition. I go, you always have competition. And so she goes, well, no one can offer these packages with these organizations. I go, absolutely, you're correct. But you still have competition. You have replacement competitors if you have nothing else. Because I can take my money, what you're offering is hospitality and entertainment. So at the end of the day, I can either still go to you, or I can just go directly to a Broadway show. Or I can book a tour on a boat around Manhattan. You've been replaced. So you're still classified under hospitality and to some degree entertainment. And that's where you still have to get very clear on who am I competing with and how am I competing with this. So I want to really go a little bit deeper on that, just so you understand. Now, for those that are in our community, we have a full 6-part series on this, which is like 6 hours long, where we go deep into the 5 types of competitors. So I just kind of gave you a very brief overview of that. So now let's get into the nitty gritty. Why competitor analysis matters. Well, one, discovery ranking factors. Identify what helps competitors rank higher for your target audience when it comes to AI-driven search. So this is one of, the analysis really helps you figure out who's winning. And I used to say this, and I guess I still say this, when I would meet with new clients and I asked them, I always say, give me 3 direct competitors and give me someone who's crushing it in the industry, someone that is so big that you could never compete with. And the reason why I would do that, one, I want to see where your standing is with competitors that you consider on your level. And then that big competitor is someone that gives me an idea what the potential is for your industry, especially if they're massive and they're crushing it. This is where we can go. They become that what we're trying to reach for. Okay, so when people would give me their competitors, and then I would look them up online and do a little analysis digitally, I go, if they're not doing well digitally, they're no longer your competitor, because I'm more interested in discoverability than anything. So if they're crushing it online, there's stuff we can learn from them, which allows us to go beyond our traditional and normal reach. Okay, when we do an analysis, we are able to find content gaps. We can spot topics competitors haven't covered thoroughly, or where their content lacks depth. This will help us refine our strategy. And at the end of the day, the goal is not to copy our competitors, is to improve on what they are doing and add your own specific, your unique selling proposition, your unique value proposition to the thing. At the end of the day, if you're competing against a number of people and you go to their sites and they all have a chat bot and you don't, that's a competitive advantage for them. Again, so obviously if they're using the chat bot and it's working and it's getting them closer to a sale and it's even closing sales, and you don't have that ability, when I look for a new tool, because I'm a tech head, and I go to a website and I'm trying out a tool and I'm testing out 2 tools, if I can't ask questions by going to a chat bot in the corner, if there's no way for me to communicate, I'm not liking that experience at all, because that puts a hurt on my time. Okay, so I look for that. So if you're a tech company trying to compete with my time, you better understand what your competitors have and why I choose them over you. And then, of course, now we have to look at their social media strategy specifically because of AI search. Because, as I said before, AI is about more than just your website now, more than just about local citations. There's the AI tools are scouring the entire internet to understand your standing in the industry. Let me pause for a second and get any feedback from anything I may have said up to this point from Laura, Nikisha, or Corey. What are your thoughts on anything I said, or can you validate this, or how are you taking this in?
It sounds good, and the way that I interpreted it is, okay, the FAQs that we've gone over a couple of times and how useful they are for having on each one of our pages, I need to just go ahead and attack that and add those in, and that's an easy way to help with the discoverability on our side. And it's the recommendations that SEMrush's tool has been giving me.
Absolutely. Now, how often are you actually going to your competitors' sites to kind of see what they might have on their sites as well? Are you
Not
doing
often
that yet?
enough, but there's not enough hours in the day, so that needs to go on a regular, probably quarterly update.
Okay, absolutely. Anybody else?
I like what Laura said about intentionally looking at the competitor site, and maybe making it a part of your SOPs, because I do not do that. So this is really good just on a foundational level. And like you said, Jimmy, if someone has a chat box and you don't, I've been using chat box a whole lot lately, just kind of getting information from the experts or the AI or whomever, or even getting an agent to communicate with. So that is something for us to consider.
Absolutely. And I've had conversations. I've literally been walking in Manhattan and someone started a conversation on my website and I'm chatting with them through my HubSpot chatbot. Because it could be the difference between them taking action now or them or them saying they're going to come back and never do. Okay, anything, Corey, or I'm going to keep rocking?
Yeah, just parroting what you said. Basically, just following the people that are already doing it, and hopefully doing a little bit better than you, and you kind of find out where the gaps are, and you help fill them. So, yeah.
Gotcha. And just for everyone watching, eventually we're going to go into a number of tools, but Nikisha said something important: foundation. I don't care what tool you're using, whether it's got AI in it or not. If you don't understand the foundation of what we're trying to do, none of that matters, because you can't fix what you don't, if you don't know how it works in the first place. So it's important to get this foundational structure first. Then we go into the tool, because then it makes the tool and the AI itself make more sense. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about AI search response sources. You need to identify which competitors are being featured, and sources is the new citation. They're being sourced. And as we look at this and we think about, and we hear about the fact that, these AI generated information is losing us clicks. Again, the clicks are being lost the most at the top of the funnel, where it's more informational. At the bottom of the funnel, which is where we're going to be focusing on primarily, is where the clicks are still happening. It's just a matter of, are you optimized enough for AI search to show up so you're in the running to get that click at the bottom of the funnel? Okay, so we need to track AI search citations, monitor which sources AI search engines refer most frequently, analyze selection patterns, understand why certain sources are chosen over others, and then identify authority signals, determine what makes competitors appear authoritative to AI systems. Because again, that's what we have to do. If we have to build our authority, which is building our brand recognition, building our, the sentiment around our brand. So again, it becomes more than just your traditional SEO strategy. Okay. So what I did do here, and you're going to have access to, is we created an identify competitors checklist that will go in alignment with today's session. So again, if you're not sure where to start, you start with this checklist. This checklist will help you. Okay. If we come over here real quick, we go to the checklist. Part 1, identify competitor research. So create a list or direct competitors in your industry. Identify indirect competitors who target similar clients. Document this. So I created that. If you have Notion, we created these documents in Notion. So if you have Notion, it's free. You can just copy and paste this. You can add this to your Notion account, and then these blocks are fillable. You can come in here and add in any information. Again, this is doing it a bit old school. So this is one way, and the SEMrush tool isn't another way. To me, a bit easier and more dynamic. You can track AI search response analysis, content gap analysis, technical analysis. So it's the whole thing: social media, AI specific optimization. So it's a pretty detailed checklist that you have direct access to. Okay, so let's head back over here. So what we're going to do now is we're going to look at 4 competitor analysis strategies. The first one is citation analysis. Examine where competitors get mentioned in AI responses. Number 2, we're going to look at the AI overview study, analyze response structures and preferred formats in AI results. Number 3, we're going to look at query pattern research, explore related searches to understand broader user interest. And then we're going to look at gap identification, find content opportunities through AI follow-up questions. Okay, and then I have a bonus one for you as well. So let's get started with citation analysis technique. Okay, we need to look at 3 things. We need to be able to track AI mentions, we need to be able to analyze content patterns, and we need to be able to map citation network. So monitor which competitors get cited the most in the AI responses, identify common characteristics in high cited competitors in their content, and understand how citations connect between sources and establish authority signals. So you're looking at right now, and we did a search for which companies offer both new and used vending machines. So this is Perplexity, okay? And what you'll see is a number of things. So this is, again, becomes a long way if you want to use a tool. So we can see I represent the company A&M Equipment Sales. We're number 2. So it gives you answers, it pulls images, it gives you the sources and steps. So answers is what you see first. It just gives you the answer. Now, again, this is a bottom of the funnel question because this is telling the tool I'm looking to purchase. Okay. Now you need to know that this is a bottom of the funnel thing so you can optimize for it, especially if you're not showing up in this search here. Okay. We did a pretty good job. So we're number 2. Okay. If I click on sources, it'll show us every organization that was sourced or the citation. Okay. So this is actually Perplexity. I did the same search on Gemini. Okay. And we're actually number 2 again. Number 1 is vending. Number 2 is A&M Equipment Sales. Number 3 is Southern Equipment on Perplexity. Number 1 is vending. Number 2 is A&M Equipment Sales. But number 3 is VenTech. So what does that tell us? On different platforms, you will show up differently. And we talked about this before against your competitors. So you would have to do this on Gemini, Perplexity, Claude, AI mode, and whatever else is out there. Or you can leverage a tool like SEMrush AI Toolkit, and it will pull everything in there for you. And it'll measure you across 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, I think 9 competitors at one time. So if we come back over here, and we come over here to SEMrush, we can see we can add our competitors. And if you use this tool for the first time, it will pick competitors for you. And you might think, well, I don't want it to pick competitors for me. Well, you want to let that happen first because the way they're picking the competitors is how they're seeing you, which means so if the competitors are correct, that's good. If the competitors are not correct, you now know that you have a content issue. So keep that in mind, okay? And then once you do add additional competitors here, then you can start to see, how they're doing week over week. You can understand how you're doing across Google AI mode, Search GPT, Perplexity. And I'm in the citations. Today we're going to spend time in the citations tab of the AI toolkit. But if I click here, you can see Gemini, Claude, and DeepSeek will be added to this specific section soon. This was a new section that they added, so all the sections are not active yet, okay? Now, we're going to go deeper into this in a little bit, but again, I just want to give you an idea of what this will start to look like as we start to look at how do we know who's being cited and how often they're being cited. And so this here will give you a better understanding of what that is, and you don't have to go scouring the entire AI search internet to get this information, okay? Let's come back over here. Now let's talk about examining AI search overview. We got to look at the preferred sources. We got to look at the content structure. And then we got to look at the response format. So when it comes to preferred sources, identify which competitors again are consistently being mentioned in the AI overviews, which is way different than Gemini, even though they're both the same company. Or Perplexity or any other tool, ChatGPT. When it comes to content structure, study how information is organized in featured responses, and then of course response format. So let's come back over here. This is the same question. I may be using this question throughout all today's training. Which companies offer both new and used vending machines? So when I popped it in, you can see the AI overview itself. We actually got mentioned first. Okay, we're showing up. We got mentioned first here. And again, this is a non-branded term. It does not mention a brand, and it pulled us in first. And then it gave us a link to companies. So we're first here. And then as to sources, we're actually second. So what does that mean exactly? So let's come over here and let's go to This is AI search. So I typed it in, and you'll see you've got some ads up here. And then there is that AI overview. So I can click here, of course, and I can see all this stuff. So I can immediately take action and click on here. Because again, it's the bottom of the funnel. I can click here to show all the sources it looked for. But here's where I find myself a lot. If you have this enabled, click on AI mode. And AI mode will now allow you to go deeper into the conversation. And then you can see this here is, if I scroll up, I'm supposed to be able to see that pop up. That should be, it should show who it's sourcing. So again, it sourced me twice. Then it sourced discount vending store twice. Then Ventec. So you can kind of see it's pulling in. You're looking at the format. It's looked at offerings and service. Offerings and service. Offerings, refurbished machines. Offerings, used machines. So you can see, okay, and then you can go to the page and then see, all right, why did it determine to pick this page? So you're analyzing, okay, to kind of do your own analysis to understand what is the reasoning behind this. But you're also going to see something else, which I'm going to go into a little bit more later, okay? So let's go back over here. And then in addition to that, people also ask. So we want to start to figure out, well, what other content can we continue to produce? And I mentioned this on part 3, where I talked about you need to create clusters of content to really become an authority around a specific topic. So we need to leveraging the people also ask section, which is what we also call Google search, identify related search queries and understand the broader context of user intent. So identify related queries, collect questions from the people also ask section, analyze user intent, understand the broader context of user interest. And user interest is, remember, so went over this on part 3, it's either informational, navigational, commercial, or transactional. Are they trying to buy something? Do they just want information? Or they're looking for a specific page on a website that might tell them more about something? Then you can create targeted content, and then you can monitor competitor answers, okay? So if we look at that, this is that same query on Google, which companies offer both new and used vending machines. Now here are some additional people also ask. Should I buy a new or used vending machine? How many vending machines do you need to make $100,000? Will Coca-Cola give me a vending machine? Do I need an LLC to buy a vending machine? Okay, so you might go, wow, I never thought these would be questions. Now the question is, can I integrate that into the existing content, or is this new content? Or are these frequently asked questions I need to add? Because if I click on them, someone answered these very specific questions, which is how they ended up here. If they're being cited here, there's a good chance that they can be cited other places, including AI search tools, okay? So if we come back over here, if we start with the Google search, of course, we got the AI overview. We keep going down, we got sponsored stuff, and then we got the people also ask. And then this, see how far I had to scroll before I even got to organic? This is the first actual real organic search. Thank God we're number 1, but still, these are the questions. So when I click on that, you can see it pulled a block of text. So when you optimize your blog articles and your content to have frequently asked questions with the actual information, it can actually pull it from there instead of trying to figure out from your whole blog article. Let me pause for a second. Go ahead, Laura.
The column on the right, is that a plugin that you've got, or did Google just automatically show that?
Good eye. All right. This is a plugin. I use a plugin called Keyword Everywhere. It's a Chrome extension plugin, and I think I paid $10 and I get 100,000 credits. Okay. And what it does is it's just another way of looking at, you got SERP keywords, you got related keywords. If I click on load metrics so it doesn't blow through all my credits, it'll give me the search volume, the cost per click, the CPM, and the trend of that. So it's just another way of me looking at data to determine, do I want to integrate this in. This is my traditional SEO stuff, but it's still relatable in SEO. So that's why you're seeing this on the side. If not, you wouldn't see anything. Okay. So yeah, good question. Anybody else have any questions or thoughts before I keep going? Nope. Okay. Now let's talk about finding content gaps with AI. We can do this using Perplexity or Gemini, but it can be very time consuming, but that doesn't mean that it can't be done. We need to collect follow-up questions, study and collect AI suggested follow-up and identify unanswered questions. Look for missing content. Look for areas where AI responses lack depth or nuances. Then you need to implement a strategy, prioritize content creation based on gap size and ranking potential. And then, of course, content opportunities. Create new or optimize content addressing these identified gaps. So, one way to do that is relate it. So if you're using AI tools already, like Gemini, it immediately will give you, after it answers your question, relate it. Which vendor sells both new and certified manufactured machines? Do vending.com and Ventech offer financing for used machines? Which sellers provide warranties to their refurbished vending machines? How do A&M and Southern Equipment differ in machine technology? That's our branded query. It's using our actual name. Okay, and again, if it's saying it's related, this is something people are already asking for. And again, you'll get that if you do that in Gemini. So same question, a different way of showing the data. If I scroll over the links, citation links, you'll see that's A&M. So it shows you who it's sourcing. So it's a different experience on Gemini than it is on Perplexity. But if I scroll down, there's actually no questions here. I thought there were, but I can click here and see the sources. So that's how they're doing their sources now. Okay. So you can figure out your sources, or of course, you start using this tool and it'll give you the cited domains and the pages of your competitors. So then you can click through here and see how you're being cited, how they're being cited. I'm not going to go too deep into these tools here, but if you put your mouse over it, it tells you what each section means. So it makes it easier for you to understand this data. And the cool thing is you can export this data as well. Okay. So there's a lot to look at here when we're looking at just the citations and you're comparing yourself against your competitors. You now have a better understanding to go from Google AI mode to Search GPT to Perplexity, soon Gemini, Claude, and DeepSeek. Now, of course, if we're in another platform, like if we're in a different part of the tool, like visibility or perception, we'll see more that are active because they're active for those specific sections. Now, let's take a look at here at citation growth priorities. So when we're talking about coming up with content ideas, again, you can either look at those other questions they're asking, or you can let the tool, if the tool is advanced enough, give you insights to, well, what does this mean and what can I do about it? So SEMrush specifically, which is what I like about it, is it doesn't just tell you who's doing what and how well they're doing, but it tells you what you're going to need to do to start to beat them out. So this here is AI generated strategy based on the latest data update. So it's saying publish pillar guides, create refurbished versus used, warranties, ADAs, micro market calculators, and to win the AI citations. Now, here's something that really makes me happy. Micro market calculator. Can we create one of those real quick? We absolutely can, because I believe I think it was the VIP session day one, we created a really quick AI tool for Laura. So these are things that you can do that would immediately help you stand out and start to get more citations. It says schema and expert. Add product, FAQ, how-to schema, expert bios, and boost the EAT citations. Okay. Now, just to show you, I'm going to look at a la carte catering, go back to citations and see what it suggests for Laura's company. Let's go to citations. Because again, the key here is to be cited more. So it's saying publish pricing explainer suite, launch calculators and guides to replace generic sources, earn primary citations over social tablets, Patronics. It says schema everywhere, rollout. Implement frequently asked questions, how to, service, event schema. It says directory profile upgrades. Enrich the not wedding wire party slate listings with dietary badges, rentals, reviews, or trusted citations. So this is the first time I've ever seen it say go to those citations that's always trying to get you to buy to upgrade, and it's saying upgrade. Wow. So you might, and I know for Laura's industry, the Knot is a powerful platform for people in her industry. So this now might be something she might want to consider. Houston's Trends Report, release annual data report, seed backlinks and recurring local media citations competitors lack. So this is something that, I'm being told that we need to, moving forward small business, we need to start creating more original trending reports. Now that's a bit of an undertaking, but if that's what's going to separate us from who we're being compared against, such as SCORE or the SBA or the U.S. Chamber of Commerce, well, this might now be something that we need to do. That's a bit of a bigger lift, but will establish us as an authority, a thought leader, and an industry leader. Okay, so let's take a quick look one more time at moving forward small business, just again to see the differences with this. And again, this is where you would have to try to maybe figure this out yourself. But if you're using a tool like this, it makes it a lot easier because they're giving you some ideas. You just have to determine what am I going to act on. Okay, so it says, for me, neutral encyclopedia page, publish reference-rich overview matching .gov.edu tone and structure. Quarterly SMB data briefs, release proprietary stats, open data sets, and become the cited source. Schema, FAQs, and excerpts. 80 to 120 word FAQ answers with FAQ page markup to earn pools. And this is something I told you I was going to do when I said I was going to go to my question section inside the SEMrush tool. And I just haven't finished it yet, but I'm going to finish it soon. And I pulled all these questions and I'm going to answer them on a specific page and mark it an FAQ page. So I was already planning on doing that. But now I know where to get the data because it's already inside of this tool, and they're either branded searches or they're non-branded searches, but I'm going to group them accordingly. And that's what's going to help me when they start asking these questions like, what organizations offer comprehensive support for small business owners? I want to be in that conversation. Now, if you don't know if these questions are being answered, the problem with going directly to Gemini and Perplexity is you got to know the questions that you're popping up for. So you could be typing in questions till you're blue in the face, or you use a tool to help you get to the source quicker. I'm going to pause for a second. I see Nikisha, you're like all up in here. So tell me what you're thinking.
You said you have to know what questions to ask. Yeah, if you don't know that, we're just wasting time.
Absolutely. And so this the tools like this will give you that ability. Now, Thomas says he needs to drop off early. Will there be a recording? Absolutely. You will get that. And he says he's an existing SEMrush customer, so perfect. So you're familiar with the SEMrush tool, Thomas. Yeah. So just if you consider now, just a heads up for everyone, the SEMrush AI toolkit is $99 a month. It's separate from your normal SEMrush tool, but it is a standalone. You can have the SEMrush AI toolkit without having to purchase anything else in SEMrush. So again, I want to make that very clear. All right, let me keep going here. So I kind of went into the citations and broke down, how it's starting to give you priorities, give you those next steps inside the tool. And then as a bonus, monitoring authoritative sources. So again, you're going to start to monitor these guys. You're going to start to look at other places like industry forums, analyze knowledge bases, and again, to continue to identify citations. So what do I mean by industry forums? Again, I mentioned earlier, now we got to start thinking about platforms like Reddit. We got to start thinking about platforms like Quora. Any any industry related platforms, directories that you can communicate with people. This is an example of a Reddit conversation. Where does everyone get their vending machines? And people started commenting. Now, this guy here was, he says, if you're just starting out, Facebook Marketplace can be a decent place. So he's just naming the number of companies. He named Crane, AMS, Vendo. These are all competitors of my client. So my client wasn't mentioned, but this is just a regular guy just talking about. Then someone that said, I've gotten all mine from Facebook Marketplace or through networking. But then this one I got squared out here. You can tell this is a company. Look what he said. He goes, we do a lot of refurbished used vending machines. If you DM me, we can get on the phone and discuss the location with you and get you the best machine for a good price. Now, here's what you can't do. You can't add links because then they think it's spammy. So what he did was he said, if you DM me. So now he can get them he takes it offline. He takes it into his DMs and hopefully the person will communicate with him. So it's a very thin line when you're using platforms like Reddit and Quora where you can't be overly promotional. So you got to be very clever. And the fact that this is live means that he made it, he got through. Okay? When I was answering someone on a Reddit, and I was about to hit push, I had a link in there and it immediately told me that I should remove the link. It's going to be considered spam. So I removed the link and I had to reword it. So it would still pass and not be flagged. Okay? So everybody should be at some point create a company account on Reddit and Quora. Because once you pop in your keywords or things you're interested in, this is how these things will start to pop up for you. And then you can come in here and have relevant conversations, which again lead back to industry forums, knowledge bases. So you start to, answer questions as an expert, as an authority in your industry. So this is very, very important, not just social media, such as Facebook and LinkedIn and Instagram. These some of these platforms are being specifically used by AI as sources, so we need to be there. Okay, tracking competitive visibility. This takes us back to day one, where we're able to, once we have our competitors in, this is a weekly snapshot inside of SEMrush AI Toolkit, so we can see it changes by day by day. It changes week by week. So just because you rank for something on last week doesn't mean you will rank for it this week. It's very volatile, and you can see the amount of mentions. So we can see this chart. Let's take a look at this. Who's in green? So Ventech is in green. Look at their rise over week. They're taking this seriously. Where everybody else is staying pretty consistent, they're investing some type of resources and making sure that they're getting mentioned more and more and more. And how are you doing that? By making sure that you're paying attention to what is being asked of you and you're taking action. And feel free, anyone, I know we have Corey, Laura, and Nikisha here, but anyone that's watching, feel free to ask a question in the chat like Thomas did as well. So again, if we come over here, and we can remove anybody at any time, we can add a new player. So again, I think we can add up to, so actually we're in the moving forward small business section, and we have 1, 2, 3, so we have 9, we can monitor up to 9 competitors. Now, here is the big thing that happens. So let's come back over here to citations real quick. And when we can look at pages, so we can see the top, on page 1 through 5, 6 through 10, we can look at the type of citation, so we can single out just our company or one of our competitors. Say we want to analyze Score or we want to analyze Startup Grind, so we can see where they are because we realize that they're doing something right. We need to understand them more. We can look at their favorable mentions. We can look at the type of, as far as the number of citations, and we can look at the questions. Now, if we come over here to cited pages, it gives us the actual pages that are being cited. So this again can be a situation where we can look at a specific, let's just take entrepreneur organization. And we can see all the pages that are related to them. And then we can go to the actual page and determine, is there something to learn? Now, what you're seeing is Wikipedia. Now, Wikipedia is and I think I mentioned this on one of our calls, Wikipedia, if you can get yourself a Wikipedia page, that would be great for you because that builds a lot of authority for you. Now you can't, I'm doing a lot of research on Wikipedia pages. You can't write your own Wikipedia page. Someone else actually has to write it for you and then get it approved. But this, again, shows you if my competitors have Wikipedia pages, I need one. I'm going to have to figure out a way to get one. Okay? So let's come back over here. We're almost done. So now that we've done all this stuff, now we need to be able to apply competitive insights to help inform your strategy. So we need to analyze what we've learned, identify the opportunities, create new content, and then measure the results. So this is the big thing. Now we're like, okay, now that we have all this data, what can we do about it? Okay, and here is where this tool really shines, because at the bottom of each one of these tabs is your AI strategic opportunities. This tells you what you should do because of what we're seeing for your brand. So for this one here, A&M Equipment Sales, it's saying create definitive resource hubs for high-cited topics around warranties, financing, and shipping. LLMs, large language models, repeatedly cite warranty length, financing terms, and shipping speed to rank vendors. Competitors' one-year warranties are frequently quoted. A&M's details are scattered. So it's saying our details around this is scattered. So now here's the recommendation. Consolidate financing, warranty, and shipping into 3 evergreen hub pages with transparent tables, examples, and a calculator. Okay? Link these hubs site-wide. So I'm going to put them in the footer. Okay? And I'll probably put them in the drop-down menu somewhere. Pitch them to editors. Oops, go back over here. Pitch them to editors of buying guides, so Perplexity uses A&M as the canonical reference. So this is what I'm talking about, where you're getting real actionable insight. It doesn't say go and create a new web page. It's giving you a strategy. It's giving you a very complex strategy, and you're like, okay, and then it tells you this is a short time frame thing. It shouldn't take that long for you to do, or it's a short time frame in relationship to how soon should it happen, because you might also see urgent, and then you'll see medium time frame. So this one says standardize and enrich citations with structured data to increase Perplexity's selection of A&M pages. Perplexity pulls from sites with clear metadata and FAQ how-to structures, which is your schema markup. Some A&M pages lack consistent schema and snippet blocks that LLMs prefer. So now I can fix this. Now here becomes the major difference. Now we were just reading that for, let's go back over here to A&M Equipment Sales. And let's go back to Citations. And let's come all the way down here. So again, we're looking at, that's exactly what we just looked at. Now remember, that's for, I think we were on Perplexity. So those, whenever I change this, all of this changes because it's relevant to the platform. So these opportunities are specific to Perplexity, specific. If I change this to Search GPT, it's specific to Search GPT. If I change it again to Google AI mode, again, it is specific to Google AI mode. And again, this is another reason why you still use a tool like this, because imagine imagine what you would have to go through to get all this data if you had to do this by jumping from platform to platform. I'm going to pause for a second. Thoughts, anybody?
Yeah, I would just like to say that, yeah, this tool right here, again, is all AI is really supposed to be doing is helping us advance how much we can learn in what time span we need to learn it. So it helps, speed that process up a bit. And again, like you said, going through those different AI tools and platforms, it's a lot going on, and you do want to be seen on all those platforms. So I guess this information is very vital to be noticed on those platforms. So yeah, this is a great tool.
Absolutely. Anybody else? Nope. Okay. Let's keep rocking. We're almost done here. So next steps. We are done. Okay. If you want to try this for 7 days, you can scan this QR code, or you on the replay page, we will have this link. Try out the tool. Add your website. See what it comes up with. If making sure that your brand is AI ready, I think this is worth it, because the most important thing that I want you to take away from this whole series is preparing your brand for AI search is more than just preparing your brand for AI search. There are so many wins. You're creating great content. You're providing an extremely powerful user experience. You're creating tools that will get you noticed, that will help you stand out from your competition. Leveraging AI technology to build simple calculators on certain pages to make it easier for people to do more of their work, but because of you, and then you develop that relationship with them because of that, is a huge huge opportunity. Okay, so consider doing that. And as far as we're going to jump now, for all those that have a VIP pass, we're going to jump on VIP, which is on Zoom, and then we're going to continue the conversation. There won't be a presentation. We're just going to talk and go deep. So anybody can ask questions. Hey, you talked about this. Can we go deeper into that? So the VIP is really based on who shows up. So Corey just dropped the VIP link in there, but it's for the life of the program, which is till September 10th. And you have additional access to these assets after the 17th of September if you are interested in becoming a VIP. Okay? And so at this point, we're at questions. There's so much more I would have loved to show you, but of course, we only have so much time in the day. But I hope you got a better understanding of the landscape of competition, what it is, what it means, how you're going to look at this, how you might leverage the page I created for you, the Notion checklist, to start to really understand your competitors. Because as I said before, if you're analyzing the wrong competitors, you're enthusiastically going in the wrong direction. You must make sure that you're leveraging the correct competitors so you can take the appropriate action that's going to put you ahead of them and keep you in front of the target audience that all of your competitors covet. Okay? So with that being said, I'm going to pause. We got a few minutes left here. I'll see if Laura, Nikisha, Corey, if any of you have any final thoughts or questions, and if there's any questions being dropped in the chat. Does anybody have anything they want to add or say or need a bit of clarification on?
This was good. I can't wait to see what we deep dive on.
Okay, gotcha. Anybody else? Nope. Okay. All right. Well, next week we are going to be focusing on. Let's take a quick look here. So we're going to look at ensuring high quality authoritative content for AI search. All right. So we're going to go deeper into the content itself and how we're going to be able to make sure our content really stands out. All right. Without further ado, I'll see you next week, or I'll see you on VIP.